Now this is Surface Studio. So I walk you through it, but this is really a new way to create. It's a new way to produce. It's absolutely a new way to work. It's meant to turn your desk into a studio. That's what it's going to do. Now, the idea behind it is we want you to be able to move effortlessly between those perspectives of drawing, drafting, up to typing, back through, so you can move through your motions and nothing gets in your way. It was designed in a way where this hinge had to come to life, and there was so much around it. And those arms that disappear in the background, they play this critical role. There are 80 custom parts in those two arms, each having 80, which is critical. Creating a zero-gravity hinge. What does that mean? Basically means it's weightless. And that's critical. Because what we have is a 13-pound display with all its thinness and the aluminum enclosure that we talked about. But we have to make it as simple as possible. You can pick any angle. We have a counterspring system in that same base we talked about earlier that allows you to put it at any position you want. And if you wanted to draft, and if you wanted to create and get really into your product, we talked about the screen. So the closer you get to it, the more powerful that becomes for you to stay in it because it's so clear, and that clarity was critical. It was critical. So I'm going to bring us to the Surface Pen now. This is one of my favorite devices on the planet. I think it's making a difference in so many people's world. We're seeing pens catch up digitally everywhere. I think it's just awesome. People are writing again. I believe that writing pulls out creativity in many of us, almost all of us. Put your pen to paper, and it's meant to be innate. It's something you have always done. But then take Microsoft Office, and let's bring up that studio document one more time. So I'm going to bring up the Studio Doc, and I'm going to walk you through some of the technicalities of the pen here. And we'll bring that up for you. So this is that same document. Try not to take too many pictures. There's a lot of pieces coming together here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out and take just a different look at the collection of images here. I'll probably come here, and this is the design for thermal that we're looking at, which is cool. Now, if I want to edit a document in that real-time editing, have you seen this with Word? It's a very, very cool way to look at it. I'm going to do this in red. You don't actually have to do anything anymore. The idea where you pick up a pen, put it down to paper, and start writing. And remember, put it down to paper. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. What makes this demo kind of weird is I'm a lefty. So I'm sorry about that. And, you know, I write weird. But I'm going to just show you some positions so you can kind of understand where I'm able to put my arm down and relax the way I want to. Now, this is Windows working, what we call palm rejection, where it's so important that when you lean on this device and you get all the way into it, if you're going to immerse yourself, nothing wants to bring you out. And then I write. Now, look at the latency, meaning the speed of the ink coming out of my pen. All you can see is the ink and how smooth it is. So we'll try it here. The idea of I'm able to write at full speed, the idea behind that is the latency we talk about is about reducing it to the least amount of milliseconds so you could never feel the difference between a real pen and ink coming out of it onto paper to a digital pen and the ink coming out. That crossing of the analog or the physical and digital world that you heard about today is just as real on these devices. And it's critical because it kind of brings us to a pretty cool space. Now I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to get to the end of this document because this is really how I work. I'm a creator in documents. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I am. I read a lot. I write a lot. That's how I create. Every night, I do writing. In the morning, we have some meetings, and I tell my stories to the team, and we inspire products, and we go drive for the best we can be. But I do writing, and it's super meaningful to me. This document can do the same thing. But let's just step back and look at what Word and Office is doing for now me editing a document. So this spec is meaningful to me. This spec is written by a gentleman by the name of Peter. He's one of our product leaders. And he would have put this spec together. If I wanted to give him feedback or edit something, if there's something I like, imagine how you can just simply scribble and the entire paragraph knows I'm trying to highlight it and it just comes to life. Pretty cool, right? Or, Pete, I don't like this part of the document. Just scribble it out and it goes away because it's not what was intended and the document just reflows perfectly. That's the power of Microsoft Office and the pen and that innate feeling. Pretty cool. So I'm going to zoom back out in just a minute so you can see this. I'll zoom out for you. And I'm going to go to the bottom piece. Now I'm going to write a note and I want to show you something new. I'll give you this. team, I think they like your product. Do you? What do you guys think of this product? Watch how I just come up to show you what I wrote, which is cool. I now want to introduce you to this thing, the Surface Dial. The Surface Dial was created as a new form of input. We've learned a ton over the last several years of how people are using their pen and how they use their other hand to operate, whether it's touching the screen, grabbing a mouse, typing, but there's so many different flows of interaction that happen. This product was meant to help you change that workflow, give you that next option to help you create even faster. Now, we have integrated global controls into this, which are part of Windows. I know that sounds like a lot of words, but what it means is it's built right into Windows. As I hold it down, can you see right here in the middle of the screen, if you bring this up, you can see that here I have the dial essentially on my screen in front of me. This allows me to select different things within Windows. In this sense, I'm going to show you a new product called Ink Replay. You'll notice my ink went away on the screen. That was purposeful. But watch as I move the dial to the right as the ink comes back on the screen. If you can see my hand and you see the ink coming to life behind me, now here's what I love about this. I can recreate this ink or I can take it away at any given time. But if the team gets this document and they want to replay my emotion, you can see it because it came out of my hand. If I had typed that message, you would not have the inner pieces of what came with it. Those 3 exclamation points may not look the same. The writing may have looked faster or slower, which is important. Let me show you another cool trick. If I just come here, this product comes to life with the scroll wheel. So as I scroll, can you see this flipping? Just moving my hand and flipping through.